The next one is bughd. Another disease is hatred. وَالْبُغْضُ لَا فِي جَانِبِ الْعَلِي. He's saying this bughd is not hatred. It's hatred for other than the sake of Allah. In other words, it's good to hate for the sake of Allah. You should hate corruption. You should hate evil. You should hate, right? But you also have to recognize that it's there by the permission of Allah. Not by the rida of Allah, but by the idhn of Allah. So that's important, so that you don't lose sight that Allah is in control, right? But you should hate it because Allah has told us to hate it. And the Prophet ﷺ did not hate things for their essence. He hated things because of what they manifested, their attributes. The Prophet ﷺ did not hate the zawat, right? He hated the sifat, right? Because Allah created the sifat, and then He gave human beings the ability to do bad in attributes, in sifat, right? So you should hate the things that people do, but not let that hatred blind you, which it does. People become blind with hatred, and that's not blindness for the sake of Allah. That's not hatred for the sake of Allah. So this is with the understanding that you have not done a wrong if you're repulsed by your hatred and do not act in accordance with it to harm the person. What that means is هذا ولا تأثموا إن قيلاه تكره ولم تعمد بمقتضاه. It means that your qila or your hatred is not that when you find it in yourself, you don't like it. Why don't I like that person? If you don't have a sharia reason for not liking a person and you don't like them, it's not a good sign. There has to be a sharia reason. If you don't like them without a sharia reason, it's a disease in the heart. There's no reason you should not dislike them. It's something in the heart. Which does not mean that people have incompatibilities. In other words, you might not be compatible with another person, but you shouldn't have hatred towards them, right? Unless they're doing something wrong. So it doesn't mean you have to be their friend or you have to spend time with them, but if you feel in your heart that you have animosity towards that person or bughd, it's a disease of the heart. And, what's that? Yeah, we're getting to that, inshallah. I think there's a line missing here. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Oh no, he gave it in the first one. Sorry. دواءه الدعاء للمقلي. He said its cure is to pray for the one you don't like. In other words, if you don't like the person, what you do is you actually make dua for them specifically. Mention their name and ask Allah, Allah bless this person, give them thing. And this is actually, it's advice. And if you do that, you'll get a cure for it. Allah will remove that bughd from your heart. So, but again, you have to take the medicine if you want the benefit. He's not joking about these things. They're real, and you have to do it with sincerity because the whole point is you don't want this disease. You want to get rid of it, so you do it with sincerity. It's not like, oh my God, I have to make dua for this person. It's like, subhanAllah, I don't want to have these feelings. Ya Allah, remove these feelings from me. Bless this person, increase them, things like that. And then he goes to the next disease, which is called al-baghyu. If there's a sharia reason, you should not hate them if they're Muslim. You should hate what they do and you should actually want good for them. You should never hate a Muslim. Al-mu'minu la yafraku mu'mina. A mu'min does not dislike another mu'min. Even if they're a bad Muslim, unless they're a munafiq, which is another thing. The munafiq is somebody. But if you see that there are people that pray, that they're struggling with their deen and things like that, but they do bad things, you should not like the things they do, but you should not hate them. And I'll tell you, it's a big secret, but one of the Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ said, do you want to see a man who is for paradise? And they said yes, and a man passed by and he said, that man's from the people of paradise. And one of the Sahaba said he had to see what he was doing. He wanted to see what he would do that made him, give him that station. And so he asked if he could spend time with him, and he said yes. And he noticed he didn't do night prayers, he didn't fast, he didn't do anything particular. He was just an average Muslim in Medina. He didn't really see much difference from the other people, in fact, less. And he told him, he finally said, I've just been watching you, and, I was trying to see what you do, and you don't really do a whole lot, and, do you have any practices that you do? And the man said, the only thing that I can think of, other than what everybody else does, is that I make sure I never go to bed with any rancor in my heart towards another Muslim. And so he knew that that was his secret. Right? So really removing rancor from the heart is just a bad thing. It'll eat a person up. And baghi comes right after that. Baghi is another horrible thing. Baghi, according to the Opening of the Truth, which is a book, is harming creation where there is no just cause. And the word baghi in Arabic, it's one of the words for prostitute, baghi, and that's what they accused, a'udhu billah, Maryam of. Again, yeah, I would think that if you don't feel comfortable with a person, you should not consider, to say I don't feel comfortable around that person is not the same as saying it's a bad person. Because I had one of my teachers, Sheikh Hamid, told me once when he was a student, he said there was a man who really liked him, a student there, and he was always with him, and he didn't like him. He just didn't like him. And he went to Murabbit Hajj and he told him, he said, I feel bad because I don't really like being around this person likes being around me. And Murabbit Hajj said to him, Arwah junudu mujannada. The souls are regimented ranks, and ma ta'arafa minha at-taraf wa ma tanakara ikhtaraf. The souls, some souls don't feel harmonious around each other. And it doesn't mean that they're bad or something like that. It's just some people you might not feel a connection to, and other people you feel an immediate connection to. And some of the ulama say it had to do with the pre-worldly existence of the arwah. The closer arwah were to you on that day of the mashhad, the more affinity you'll feel towards them. And the further away they were from you, the more distant you'll feel towards them. So there are people you meet and it's like instantaneously you feel like you've known them all your life. Like I had that feeling with Sheikh Abdullah Al-Qadi. When I first met him, it was just like it's like I knew that person all my life. And I think he felt the same way. So there's certain people you'll have an instantaneous connection with, and other people you won't. And then some people it develops over time. And there's wisdom in all of those things. One is where you have a bad opinion of somebody without having any proof. Distrusting people is not one. In other words, as a general principle, you are distrustful of people. The ulama say it's wisdom in bad times. It's wisdom to be on your guard. Don't become paranoid, right? I mean, the idea is not to become paranoid, right? Do you hear what he said? You see how he looked at me? You don't want to do that. That's a psychological condition to be avoided. Seriously. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah.